Oh, welcome everyone. I am so excited to introduce everyone to the Dinas, and we're going to get more into who they are and what they're about. But we're just so excited at Women's Business League to feature some trailblazing women throughout the entire month of March, because as we all know, March is Women's History Month. So we are celebrating big this month here at Women's Business League. I had the honor of sitting with the two of you probably just about a week ago and talk about alignment and instant connection. And gosh, my heart was just so happy when I ended that call, and I couldn't wait to ask the two of you to be on this series with us, because more women, more people just need to know who the two of you are and what you've been up to. So I'm gonna let you both do your proper introductions, because everybody's like, Melissa, tell me more. Who is Dina and who is Dina? And I can't even say A because you both have the same last. So I think I'm gonna have Dina Alvarez start and give us an intro, and then Dina Aronson. I hope I said those names right. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That's such a lovely introduction, and we felt the same way, and we love what you're doing at WBL, and we're thrilled to be here. My name, as you said, is Dina Alvarez. I am the co-editor of an anthology called Midlife Private Parts, revealing essays that will change the way you think about age. I have always had a strong interest in writing and a strong love of anthologies, and I love the idea of telling women's stories, especially at midlife, that run along so many different themes. We all go through exactly the same thing in different ways. And so this was really a passion project, and it's been a wonderful journey. We've met amazing women along the way who have really incredible stories to tell. And when they pick up this book, they will get it. They will understand that they're not alone. Prior to starting this anthology, I started a bilingual parenting publication in the early 2000s, and then I worked in the not-for-profit sector. And so there's always been this kind of community feel in most of the projects that I worked on. So this book ties in beautifully to how my career has unfolded across the years. And I couldn't have picked a better person to do it with, Dina Aronson. I'll transfer it over to her. Yes, we have the same name. It is funny, the Dinas, but we are in such a great place at midlife, and we want other women to know that as well. So I'll pass it over.
Yeah, go ahead, Dina.
Okay, Dina Aronson here, the other Dina. And I echo our gratitude. We're thrilled to be here with you. We left with the same feeling after our conversation. And it's just very exciting to be doing this on Women's History Month, because, you know, that's what we're all about. Lifting women, telling women's stories, and really shining a light on just how powerful we are. And even more so when we're in community. And I think that's such a big piece of this book. As for my background, I've had many iterations. I started my career as an attorney, and quickly realized that that really was not my heart's calling and my soul's calling. But I stayed on the periphery of that for a long time. And I worked in law firm management. I became a recruiter. I owned a legal recruiting agency for close to 20 years. It's hard when you think back. It's like a flash, you know. But as I was approaching my midlife and 50, and there were so many changes and transitions sort of colliding, I had this gnawing feeling that I did not want to be doing what I was doing for the rest of my life. And I like to work, and I wanted to stay active. And so I started to think about what was next. And I've always loved to write. I've always told stories, my client stories, my candidate stories. And I thought I wanted to focus on different kinds of stories. And so I started doing research. I saw that there really wasn't a lot of content speaking to this part of life and what I felt like I was going through. And I did feel very alone in a lot of what was happening with health, you know, and perimenopause, with other sorts of relational changes in life. And so I decided I wanted to write, and I did a lot of research, and I realized that there really wasn't a lot out there. And so I started a blog, and that sort of evolved into a midlife community. It's now a Substack newsletter called Patina, and I named it so to evoke a feeling of richness and texture, which is sort of how I see age.
Ooh,
It's not wrinkles and cracking skin. It's really a beautiful patina. That's how I see it. And in the course of that sort of creating of community, I found this other amazing Dina. And we just were so very aligned on so many things, and both had this love of writing, and we found ourselves, creating this thing that started small and now has become something very different and big and beautiful, and we're so excited about it. So thank you for letting us talk to you about it.
yes, I can't wait to dive in. But I mean, my heart sings just hearing that you both met um, through almost networking, right? A community, like you both found each other. So there is so much power. I always say it in showing up, not only for yourself, but for others. Like what could that a day of look like if you didn't show up, if you didn't connect with one another, you know? So one door opens, it can totally change your life. One connection can totally change your life. So so many similarities in terms of like how I met my co-founder, and this community that you're building. It is so needed, especially in this space, in the midlife space. And I think you're right. We don't talk about it enough, right? So my question was like, what made you both start thinking about, gosh, we should put this in a book? Like, did you start meeting women that were inspiring you? How did the whole notion of a book come to play for the two of you?
I
Dina,
think
Dina, yeah.
we started looking around the room, and we were so inspired by these women we were meeting. Here they were in midlife, they were pivoting, they were changing careers, they were starting podcasts that were in the top 2% of, all podcasts. They were dealing with, things like loss and grief or feeling invisible, but they kind of had a bit of, it wasn't what you expected. There was a bit of a turnaround in their story where there was a positive reflection on it. And so we thought we should put these stories in a book, and we should let other women out there know that they're not alone, and let them read each story and take something away from it that's positive, or even if they say, gosh, I feel the same way and I thought I was the only one. So that really for us was the launch of the book. Let's share these women's voices. Let's tell these stories. Let's put this out for people to, feel, as Dina, the other Dina always says, like seen, heard, and understood. And we really do feel that this book has done that. So that for me is how I felt the launch of this book came to be. It was really by looking around and saying, wow, there's some incredible stories here that would really make a difference in someone's life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say that one more time. Seen, heard, and understood. Is that
Correct. Yes,
that
yes.
yes.
that really hit my heart? I think there's something right there. Seen, heard, and understood. Because there are so many stories. I have the great honor of being able to be with some incredible women, and I love the stories about you, about the people, right? So what brought you to where you are today, and what are the highs and the lows, and it's not a straight path, right? It's this journey that we all need to hear. And I think we can all see ourselves in other people's stories. And I think that's what hit me when you said seen, heard, and understood. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'd like to add to, one of the other motivations, and I'd say it's secondary, but not really. I think it's equally important, is that I think we have an opportunity here to really sort of reshape and reframe the way we talk about age. We're still sort of operating under this outdated narrative, and it impacts women. It impacts the way I think we see ourselves. It's important for us to start to think about the way we talk about it, think about the way we're even the words we use, like, oh,
Yeah.
I feel old, or, and I just think that stuff, it's imprinted, it's sort of baked into the way we think. And so the subtitle of our book is Revealing Essays That Will Change the Way You Think About Age. And so I think that that is, a really important aspect of the work for us too, is really wanting to like keep pushing that needle along. And there is progress. And in the context of Women's History Month, I think it's a great conversation to have,
Yeah.
because I think we have come a long way, but we have a lot further to go. And so we'd like to play some small part in pushing that conversation along.
It's not a small part. I mean, this is more than just a book. And I think we talked about this before. This is a movement, right? This is something that is needed. So beyond the book, you're right. You guys started with an idea, a passion project that is gonna change people's lives, specifically women. So I just want to say congrats to the both of you. It is so hard, and I know how hard it is to take an idea and do something about it. There are a lot of women out there that have these incredible ideas, that have a passion, but they don't take that next step, right? And I actually have goosebumps thinking about this. And one of the things we were talking about before we hopped on today was that feeling of like the imposter syndrome. Like, did you ever think, the two of you, like, you have the vision, the passion, but I don't know, I just want to dive into that a little bit, in those early moments of, hey, let's bring this to press. Let's interview some incredible women. Was there that notion of imposter syndrome or anything come up for you?
I mean, I don't know a woman alive who does not experience this.
I,
And
I
I really don't. And I also don't think, like, as much as I feel like I've learned and evolved, like, it's not something you like solve or that you just fix and it goes away. I feel like with every sort of new level of visibility, with every new challenge, it creeps in. It does. It's this sort of, who do I think I am doing this? Who do I think I am reaching out to celebrity A to ask them for an endorsement for my
Right.
book? Or who are we walking into a party because we were fortunate enough to be put on a list of most anticipated books, and we're in a room with authors that we've admired and read, or forever. And so I think it's something that we just have to know will come up and be mindful of. But I think, at least for me, I mean, some of how I manage that, and I think Dina will laugh when I say this, but even in the course of when we're working, sometimes I'll just say, okay, we have to just stop here. Let's just stop and like think about where we are, and like let's think about all we've accomplished, like from
Yes.
where we started. And I just think that we have to be kind to ourselves, and we do have to like really, maybe just write it down, if that helps. Like, write down 10 things you accomplished in the course of a month, a week, a day. But I think reminding yourselves is just taking that moment to like absorb it and say, oh yeah, I did do this.
It is
I think that can be
powerful.
really helpful. Yeah.
It is. And within Women's Business League, within our community, we really do foster that. We celebrate wins every single time we're together in a chapter meeting. And that's
Excellent.
something we really
Love that.
focus on. Tell us what you've been up to in the last 2 weeks, because we're together every other week, and celebrating not only yourself, but everybody else around you. It really does move the needle. And I also think when you're passionate about something, you're not going to let it fail, right? Like it's your idea, your purpose, your mission. You're going to figure it out. And that's, I think, what a lot of women might need to hear, is that we don't all have it figured out, right? Like we step in and then we take another step and another step, and we might not know what the next step looks like, but we're going to figure it out.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that is true. Everybody has that. And if you don't, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do
Funny.
want to say that every decade there's been a little less imposter syndrome, and that's one of the beautiful things about being in my 50s. It's definitely not the same imposter syndrome I had in my 40s or in my 30s or in my 20s. The imposter syndrome now, it still floats around, but it's a lot easier to push it away and not feel the intensity of it, because you get to a point in your life where you really trust yourself, and you have to understand that being anxious and nervous, doing something for the first time is not the same as imposter syndrome, right? And I think the imposter syndrome tends to fall away a little bit more, and that's the beauty of, for me, my 50s. And I think women, as they grow, they just hopefully feel it a little less. And that's just been my personal experience. Do I get nervous and anxious? Absolutely. But I don't have the imposter syndrome that I used to have. And that just, it feels so great and it's so freeing. And that's one of the things about being in midlife that has just been such a pleasant surprise, is kind of, it just automatically releases, and the confidence that comes kind of counterbalances the imposter syndrome. So for me, that's been a sense of personal growth that really just kind of came from living a life, which has been an unexpected win,
And
personally.
yeah, no, I agree with that. And we had talked about that a little bit. With age comes that confidence. And quite frankly, I think we even chatted a little bit about, like, we just don't care at some point. Like, this is this, here I am 100% me in all authenticity, right? And as we age, I think that is what, like you said, an unexpected win. And Susan,
Yeah.
actually, we spoke about that a little bit, and Susan actually introduced me to the two of you, so I'm very grateful for that introduction. And she's featured as well on this trailblazing series for the month of March, so we're excited to kind of shine a light on Susan as well. But I want to talk a little bit about the book, if you guys are okay with that. I'm leaning in because I have so many questions. First of all, what is the name of the book? I think everybody's listening is like, okay, what? Tell me more about the book. Where is it? How can I get my hands on it? And I also want to ask, how many women did you interview? And can you reveal some of the names? I think you can't. And if you can't, that's okay. I know there's some high list, people inside of this book. So just kind of tell us a little bit more about this book.
So the name of the book is called Midlife Private Parts. And I'll circle back to our subtitle, which is Revealing Essays That Will Change the Way You Think About Age.
Okay.
We have 25 women who have contributed their personal narratives and essays to the book. And we have another woman who writes beautiful poetry, who wrote us a poem to close out the book. I think we can reveal, speaking of revealing, some of our writers. We have Dr. Mary Claire Haver, who is a renowned menopause doctor who spoke about the things that she would tell her younger self in the context of life and health and menopause. We have Dina, help me out here with my brain fog.
We have Laura Geller,
yes,
the
yes.
beauty guru, I like to call her. She
Yes,
speaks
yes.
about what it was like for her to build her business and what she's doing today, focusing on women over 40. We have Laura Belgray, who is a very funny author who tells her story about understanding beauty with a bit of a comedic tone to it. We have Wendy Aronson, who's also another wonderful humor writer who looks at empty nest from the perspective of, with some humor and some grace. So
Yeah.
I think those are the ones
Yeah.
I'm happy to share. I don't know if there's anyone you want to add, Dina.
Oh yeah, we have also Zibby Owens, who is a publisher and book influencer, and champion of authors, and she wrote to not quite an empty nest, but an anticipatory empty nest. And I think a lot of women, I think that's one where a lot of women think about, what am I going to do? And then it just sort of comes on, and there you are sitting in your home, trying to sort of reshift and fit this new contour, of your life. So a lot of incredible women, everybody, famous, non-famous, everybody has a story to tell.
Right.
And in fact, when we put together our media kit for this book, we headlined it with "Every Woman Has a Story," because we all have stories and they all matter. They all matter.
Doesn't matter your title, your status at all. So I'm just so excited for this book to come out, and I'm excited for the two of you. I'm excited that everybody listening and watching is going to get a chance to get to know the two of you even more. So tell us, how can folks connect with you, and where it's on pre-order, the book, like where can we pre-order the book?
Yeah, you can pre-order at most booksellers, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. We like our independent, so bookstore, bookshop.org, I think Target. And we'll also have a website. It's in process. In fact, I think we're going to see the first draft today. So we'll have a website that is www.privateparts.com. And there'll be pre-order there, and hopefully some incentives and giveaways and things like that. So you can follow us there. You can find me on my Substack, which is Patina with Dina Aronson, and on Instagram at Patina_life.
And
I
Dina,
just want to go back. It's actually www.midlifeprivateparts.com. I know Dina said private parts. So
did I not say midlife? Sorry about that.
Right, but that's okay. So www.midlifeprivateparts.com, which we will have the landing page up and running soon. And you could, again, pre-order at any of the retailers. And the launch date is June 24th,
June
2025. So we're very excited about that. So we would love some pre-orders if that's at all possible. If not, you know, obviously when the book comes out, we will be doing some book signings, and eventually further down the road, we'd like to plan some events around the book. So we're very, very excited about this year on a whole is really very exciting time for us.
oh, I'd love to come. I know you're both in New York, right?
Yeah.
Is that where you're located, New York?
Yes. Oh, we would love to have you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do believe that Susan Canoff wants to do something in Boston. So yeah, you should be able to catch us at various locations
Yes.
as we put it all together.
We are getting together. When you're up in Boston, Susan,
Absolutely.
we're gonna make the magic happen. So I want
Absolutely.
and just a quick question to kind of leave our listeners with is it's kind of a tough one, but one lesson you wish you had learned earlier. Like, what is one lesson that you could each just leave with our viewers?
Oh my God, there's so many, but if I had to choose one, I think, and I think this is particularly pertinent to women, is to ask for help. And I think when I was younger, to say I don't know or to ask for help felt hard, because I thought it took away from like the perception that I knew what I was doing, or that I was smart, or, you know, good enough. And so ask for help, because nobody does anything alone.
Love that. Dina, how about you?
Yeah, no, Dina, that's particularly good. I love that. I'm not going to do one, I'm going to do two, and I'll be very quick. The first one is don't keep going over your mistakes. Like, if something happens, process it and move on. Don't spend time in the past. Like, just learn a lesson and then just keep moving forward. Like, don't waste your time kind of ruminating about it. Which I did very much in my younger years. You know, like, if there was, I would dwell on my mistakes, and I've learned not to do that. Just take the lesson and move forward. And the other thing is, I always try and listen to my intuition. Like, if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. Trust yourself. Women have tremendous antennas when it comes to intuition. We should never second guess ourselves. And that is something that I really take to heart now. Like, if something doesn't feel right, it's definitely not right.
Wow.
That's my two. Sorry, I know you only wanted one, but that was impossible.
We're gonna have to put this on rewind so that everybody can hear the two of you again. Well, this was amazing. I do appreciate the time that you both took. I know you're both so busy, but we learned so much about the two of you, and you gave us some incredible moments. And we're just so excited for this book. We all need to get our hands on it. So congrats. And again, when you're in Boston, you better let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. This is amazing.
And thank you. And thank you for all you do to bring women together and to give them opportunities to be in community and to lift each other and promote each other. It's important work. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, great to be